Hey there, welcome to First Glance with Jody Vance. I'm very amped. See what I did there? You can tell by the logo if you're watching here. We are talking to Amped Ventures, the Canadian Securities Exchange, AMPD, Anthony Brown, CEO and Director. We talk all the time, Anthony, but man, I got to tell you, my behind the scenes of my Twitter DMs, I get a lot of questions about you. People looking for updates, looking for news. I understand you've been very busy since last we spoke in late October. Give us the lay of the land.
Well, let's see where to start. There's always so much going on. I guess, first of all, we did close the second tranche of our private placement, and it's going quite well, actually, surprisingly, considering the markets these days. But I guess, we've got a pretty good following, and also we brought in some new blood, some new investment from Europe, which is excellent. Things seem to be going fairly well on that front. Also, we did talk a little bit, I believe, about the big deal that we're working on with Thailand, with AMPD.C. Magnolia Quality Development Corp is the company, and they're building this very large facility, basically a content creation studio of the future. And so the fact that they chose Amped to design and build that facility is immense. It's a huge deal for us. It's become a very big focus for the company, of course. We're taking everything that we've learned from working with Versatile Media on the virtual production walls, from building the Departure Lounge and the world's largest, highest resolution volumetric capture stage there here in Vancouver, and bringing all of that technology together in one place to enable content creators to create next-gen content for film, television, the metaverse, video games, etc., is really exciting. I think that's been a huge focus for us. We also recently hired Monica Morgan. Monica's amazing. She's spent decades working with very complex real estate development, Thailand is an example of where we need to be able to understand what's involved with the buildings themselves. When you're building these studios, these data centers, this type of infrastructure, it's very expensive, which is good news for Amped revenue, but it's also quite complex and requires an integration of technology into the real estate side of things. So being able to have Monica join us under the Departure Lounge has been a fabulous win for us. I don't know. I mean, there's so much going on. I'm never sure what you would like to talk about.
I love that you've given us that. So the people, because it's multiple people that are hitting me up in my DMs on Twitter, like, what's the update? What's the update? So that's a good start. Now let's talk to the people who maybe don't know what Amped is all about, because you've taken us on a tour of the virtual wall. You've taken us through your deck and showed us some of the video. You've actually stood on that unbelievable motion capture beyond stage,
volumetric capture stage.
Thank you. Volumetrics. Because how many cameras? 300 and
no, it's 106 cameras.
106 cameras.
Yeah, that capture and make holograms. I mean,
we're talking. It is.
I like to say we're talking next generation, because in the next generation they had holodecks, right? So
I'm such a Trekkie nerd. I am totally
a nerd. Yeah.
So when we're talking about the Departure Lounge, let's lay out. It's 6,000 square foot virtual production studio, global virtual content production market now estimated at what, 2.6 billion?
Yeah. It's growing very, very quickly. I mean, one of the quotes that we like to bring up fairly often is from the CEO of Unity. So John Riccitiello, who's the CEO of Unity, a $10 billion metaverse company. About over 50% of all the video games are made using the Unity engine. And he said that by 2030, everybody who currently has a regular internet web page is going to need a 3D metaverse hub by 2030. So the amount of content that's required to be able to enable this, and of course, all underpinned by that next generation computing platform that can create and host that content, is what we're all about. So it's pretty good timing, at least as far as, maybe not as far as the markets are concerned, but as far as the market itself with entertainment and digital media and all that sort of stuff. When things are down, when there's a recession or when there's challenges in the world, there are a few things that still do well. Alcohol and entertainment, for example, and luckily we're at least in one of those categories.
My dogs are excited for you. My dogs are very excited for you. So when it comes to, and I want to focus in a little bit here, because you did speak to the markets versus the market, because the interviewer in me is thinking, when things start to recover, when the generation or the generated need increases, the need to advertise and be able to deliver, and all of that now is rooted in what all the pieces of this puzzle that you're pulling together, really whatever the industry might be. Obviously there's the Hollywood component, but the content piece now touches almost every industry.
It does. I mean, one of the first projects we did using our technology very early on, shortly after we went public, was to do a digital twin of an aerospace manufacturing plant. So a digital twin is a visual representation of something that exists in the real world made into a virtual reality experience that has not only a visual representation, but also all of the math to be able to simulate this aerospace manufacturing plant. We did that in conjunction with the Canadian Digital Technology Supercluster, and it was quite a successful project. And so that's just one example. Another example we brought up was earlier this year we announced the signing of the binding MOU with Unleash Future Boats (UFB), who are building a fully digital port. And they need to be able to visualize and run autonomous boats in that port. And so it's basically the same computing that's required, that makes movies and television shows, that's required to be able to make a digital twin of the port and run those autonomous boats. So the applications are pretty broad for this type of technology, for sure. And we're seeing it being adopted by almost any industry, from healthcare to manufacturing to entertainment. Now, there is a big focus for us on entertainment. They are the early adopters of this technology. It's underpinned by game engine technology. So of course the video game industry is very interested. But the film and television industry has moved to using these real-time rendering engines, these game engines, to make their content as well. And so we're seeing a big uplift coming from that industry too. It's
wild. And from the gaming perspective, just in that lane, the amount of money that is generated, that is made, and the expectation level of the consumer at the gaming level, we're getting into esports. You take gaming, computing, betting, all of those pieces of the puzzle take really everything that AMPD is bringing to the table. Let me remind people that AMPD, AMPD, is the stock symbol on the ticker on the Canadian Securities Exchange, AMPD. And if people want more information and to look at your deck and communicate with you and reach out and have a conversation, you're a very busy individual, you've got a great team behind you, but accessibility wise, where do people go to talk to you, Anthony?
So there's a bunch of things that you can do. Number one, if you go to the website ampd.tech, AMPD.TECH, and then click on the investors section, you'll see all the latest news. You can download the latest deck. There's lots of resources there. You can also reach out to us at ir@ampd.tech. So IR at the two letters at AMPD.tech, and we'll do our best to get back to you. We do respond to all the emails eventually. Sometimes you may need to be a little bit patient, as we do get quite a volume of emails that come through there.
I bet.
But
I'm getting emails for you. I'm getting emails for you, Anthony Brown. Next generation high performance computing solution provider. That is the elevator talk. But so many applications.
Really, the way we like to put it is, we've been able to build the world's best, empirically, measurably, like statistically, the world's best tools and technologies for creating and distributing digital content. And at a time when the demand for digital content is absolutely exploding.
It is exploding. Now, from an investment perspective, and somebody who's, got their hard-earned dollars and they're like, we want to be a part of this. We want to be on the team. We need to know about Anthony and who's behind the scenes. Give us a little bit of an idea of how you pulled your team together.
Well, I've been in the industry for a few decades now. Well, at least a couple of them anyway. Really, this all started with a company I started back in 2000 called 7 Group. And we had something like 70% market share in Canada for digital media companies, worked with all the major brands, Disney, Technicolor, Universal, EA, Activision, if you can think of the big name.
Is that all?
Yeah, just a few names you might recognize. And then we also had the experience of actually publishing a AAA video game, an esports AAA video game with about 3 million players, MechWarrior Online. And so between those two experiences over the last couple of decades, we've obviously built up quite a list of all the players in the industry. And so that's really what's been able to enable us, and it's allowed us to be able to build up that team. My CTO, Don Buston, was the guy that actually designed and built the platform for MechWarrior Online, this latency-sensitive esports game. That became kind of the underpinning idea behind the infrastructure that we use for our for the Amped virtual studio. James Hursthouse, I worked with him for many years, who's now the CEO of the Departure Lounge. He ran, one of the biggest biggest video game developers in BC here. The name of Roadhouse Interactive. We have Adam Rogers, who's one of the pioneers in volumetric video, worked with Intel when they were building that. I could go on forever. Like, the members of this team are all absolutely industry luminaries when it comes to this sort of technology. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are people who have been working with the Fortune 500s in this space for over a decade, and to be able to have a team like that is, well, number one, it's absolutely necessary to be able to pull off what we do. But number two, it's their joy to work with. The customers love talking to them because they actually know what they're talking about, and we're solving some of the most complex, challenging problems in the industry around this technology as we speak. And so, and you need that kind of brain power, brain trust to be able to do that.
To be able to pull it off. Anthony, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, because it is like chasing you down. You're so ahead of where it feels like the rest of us are. You guys are planning way down the line and for the future in such a fascinating way. Look forward to our next chat, and keep us posted.
Will do. Thank you very much.